And now the words of God. O man, though I am one, I am also many. Though I center the individual light of each of you, you also are the one of me. I live each sensation. I live every expression. I am the motion of thee, O man. Consider each thing you do to me. For when you strike one of my parts, I feel the blow. And when you cast a thought of love, I absorb the love of you, and I return it too. When idle mind leads thee to tear the reputation of another down, you have only lowered your thought of me, and in turn have lowered yourself. Realize that I am always with you, always the silent, unseen companion to your every action, the recipient of your every thought. I love to express myself through you in ways that bring me joy, in paths that reach the hearts in gratitude. Help me to express the oneness of each of us, that I may center all my parts in unity of me and thee, in harmony and love, that none shall know the pain and sorrow and heartbreak you did express yourself. I gave thee light of life that you might extend my action, that others might feel the joy of me that are in darkness bent, who are troubled, blinded, and cannot see that I am there. Extend the progress I have brought into being by lifting up another, that I may feel the twofold expression expressed in grateful thanks. Though I am stillness, my parts all move in me. My rest is in contrast, or motion could not be. Extremes establish the boundaries beyond which man cannot go. Though I am boundless, man is bound in being of me by individuality. Man I have created, so I may extend myself through motion of the parts of me, so I will not be bound within the stillness of my infinity. Chapter 3. The Sons of God. The sun is an evolved planet in its progressive state of becoming space. An expanding universe must have something to expand from. The sun is not becoming smaller by combustion, fission, or fusion. It is growing larger by digestion of the matter it encounters in the lines of primary light energy. The sun gives off only a very small percentage of the energy it is, thus acquiring. Matter or mass cannot give off but only a small percentage of its actual total potential energy, even in the famed atomic bombs. The energy given off by any fuel or matter is always less than that substance which went into its making. Why is this? The answer is because mind also went into the making of all created things. Mind is neutral. Mind cannot give off energy. It can only direct the flow and action of energy. Universal mind permeates all things. Each person uses the mind of God according to his or her ability to get into it deeper. All things that are or ever will be already exist in universal mind. None can penetrate into the universal mind beyond their own acquired capability. On the other hand, God cannot do more for you than you are capable of doing for yourself by directing the universal mind. When scientists discover that the core of the proton is an atom is square, then they will realize that the body in the sun is also square. The cubic minerals in their crystallized state are of neutral polarity on a negative surface such as the Earth. They can be brought into polarity, however, by exposure to light, pressure, or charging. The body of the sun was brought into cubic form by the fact that its axes were parallel to the three lines of light energy. The infinite light, universal mind, or the G line of light centers one axis. The positive A and the negative B lines center the other two axes. They are all at 90-degree angles to each other. The sunspots are discharges of secondary magnetic electrostatic force released into the atmosphere and photosphere by the rotating corners of the square core body. These discharges are magnetic exhaust effects, common to any body in motion. The sunspots are apparent in the 10th degree to 30th degree north and south latitudes of the sun to our vision. The sunspots are exhausted when the discharged, polarized matter is neutralized in the photosphere or the actosphere. They appear black to Earth telescopes because they hide the effect of fusion taking place between the positive photosphere and the negative actosphere. The positive photosphere to the positive sun body is the equivalent of the negative atmosphere to the negative Earth body. They each carry the same polarity as the body which they surround. Now here's a picture of that. The fact that the rotational period of the sun appears to be different speeds at different latitudes is due to the spiral effects of primary light energy losing speed in its travel to the poles. The apparent 10-day differential in rotation between the equator of the sun and its poles is only observed in the force field of the actosphere. Viewed from the point of any of the three axes, a cube will appear square around its perimeter. Many square positive bodies in space do not rotate because their axes remain parallel to the lines of primary light. The bodies that do rotate were placed in motion when their axes were thrown out of parallel with the lines of light by a bend or warp in the lines of primary energy. This caused the positive square body to start rotating by unbalanced polarity opposition within itself. The polar axis of the sun is now through two opposite corners of the cubic sun body. The cube remained motionless in the lines of primary energy like a compass needle as long as it was in polarity balance. Once the body was in motion, lines of force trying to reach rest spiraled to the 2 points of least motion. This established an equator and opposite poles at two opposite corners. In this position, the positive polarity half and the negative polarity half of the sun each has three corners discharging at approximately 20 degrees each side of the equator. These rotating corners are displacing matter and discharging energy. This is what causes the sunspots. Cut the art gum eraser or a piece of soap into a cube and insert common pins in two opposite corners. Then make a line around the cube midway between the pole points or pins. Assume one half of the cube will have four corners in it of one polarity. Then if you look at the opposite corners, you will find they are all on the other side of the equator line. You will also see that each half from the equator line is a three-sided pyramid or prism. The polarized prismatic structure of the rotating sun generates secondary light in its positive photosphere. The negative actosphere, which we see as a ball of fire, is activated in opposition to the photosphere by the primary lines of light energy. Space is the cubes of matter that are stable because their three axes are parallel to the three axes of light. Motion is only manifested by unbalanced matter, whether it be a sun, planet, atom, or person. Desire for rest is what causes the intelligence in matter in motion to seek balance and become again part of the infinite intelligence which is still. Space is composed of balanced cubes of intelligence at rest. The lines of primary light energy parallel the 8 edges and 2 axes of the cubes of space in 2 directions, and the infinite light parallels the 4 remaining edges and 1 axis. All unbalanced positive bodies are emitting light. All unbalanced negative bodies are absorbing light. Cubes are unbalanced positive bodies. Negative bodies are unbalanced spheres. Each can contain or be a part of the other as long as one polarity is predominant. The predominant polarity will determine whether the object is spherical or cubical in shape. Astronomers state that the light from some of the stars is coming from so many hundreds and thousands of light years away that the star could be burned out and the light would still be visible on the Earth. This is predicated on the ideal that the light is still traveling after the emitting body is no longer there. This is erroneous. If the stars were not still emitting light and were not there, you could not see it. Telescopes and eyes do not see. They are only a system of lenses through which light passes. The mind sees. You can picture things you have experienced in the mind with your eyes closed. The same infinite light of intelligent mind centers every atom, star, planet, and manifested being. When astronomers look through a telescope or people observe without one, anything you can see is there. The infinite light of universal mind that centers you and what your mind sees cannot record or vision something that is not there. Negative physical vision only records to the negative physical brain the illusion that the sun is round. All that the limited physical vision is recording is the effect of the secondary light emissions from the force field in fusion around the sun. Physical negative vision can only see reflected positive light from another negative body, or negative light reflecting, Physical negative vision can only see reflected positive light from another negative body, or negative light reflected from another positive body. The actosphere, being of negative polarity, is spherical. Therefore, the negative physical vision records it as a ball of fire. Were it not for the activation of the sun's actosphere by the positive and negative lines of primary light energy, you would not see the sun at all with physical vision.